people have left Hull City, more are still to leave. That plus plenty more is what we'll be going through in today's news breakdown for Hull City. Hello there and welcome back to the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel, where today we'll be going through all of the breaking, pressing stories, everything you need to know around Hull City as the week of transfer deadline has been pressing on and more business has been going on behind the scenes. We'll first of all start off with Louie Barry. Now Louie Barry, of course, been talking about him a bit on the past few days, let's say the least. But he is officially at the MKM Stadium. Photo taken this morning, I believe, of him doing his press photo shoot. So we can probably presume that the announcement would come today. It may have already happened before this video comes out. Of course, I record these a little bit earlier on in the day before they do come out. So Louie Barry could be a Tiger already, and what I'm saying right now could be a little bit pointless, or it could come out tomorrow. We will wait and see on that front. But Louie Barry, in the Hull City shirt, I can see it on my screen right now. Everything looks fine and dandy. Other than that, a little bit of more news on the Sorba Thomas deal to Hull City. Apparently, we've fully dropped our interest. Sorba Thomas does expect to still move to the Championship on loan before the deadline shuts, but that won't be with Hull City. So a interesting one. Whether we can come in for him on a permanent deal in the summer, of course, when we won't have Louie Barry anymore. We'll wait and see on that front, as that one will develop over time. But right now, Sorba Thomas will not be a Tiger. Before we get into what I wanted to talk about today, being which Hull City players will leave before the end of the transfer window, I thought I'd just go through the Hull City news, what Hull City have officially released today, or in the past 24 hours, because the goal of the month and player of the month have been announced for Hull City for December. Of course, we are nearly at the end of January now. But the player of the month, it's for Gustavo Puerta. Of course, it couldn't be anyone else. Puerta having a fantastic December. And then, of course, he grabbed his first goal early on in January for the Tigers in the FA Cup. Goal of the month, well, that goes to Mason Burstow. He wins the Uber Eats goal of the month for December. A little positive news ahead of the Stoke game. Hull City is certainly pushing its promo-wise to get ticket sales in, as it will probably be a big one, especially considering that Louie Barry will most likely make his Hull City debut in that game. But there is a junior fan park open for young City fans ahead of the Stoke game, with some interactive games and bits outside of the stadium, which is quite nice. And then there is a new date for Hull City versus Cardiff. Of course, Cardiff progressed through the FA Cup to a fourth round. Our trip to South Wales is now on an awkward Wednesday night at 7:45, Wednesday the 26th of February. So it's a very awkward one. Very interesting around this. It's going to be a long slog for whoever decides to go. Of course, it'll probably be a set-off at midday sort of situation to then arrive there for kick-off at 7:45, and then a very, very late arrival back into Hull. So my hats are off to whoever ends up going to the Cardiff game, away obviously at Cardiff. So let's go through Hull City players I think will most likely leave before the end of the transfer window. We'll start off with goalkeepers as always, and Anthony Racioppi. Well, he probably is actually already on the way out today or tomorrow. Hull City have reportedly agreed a deal to let him sign with FC Köln over in the German division on a loan with an option to buy. This seems like a very, very good deal for him. Of course, he's off the paying books, and then at the end of the season, FC Köln can pick him up on that option to buy. Probably a bit of a discounted rate, but still at some sort of rate where Hull City can make a little bit of profit or break even in some sort of aspect. So a good deal. Get him out of here because he's not going to get featured. And for him himself, he does want to pretty much get week in, week out football, or certainly have a viable contentions to start. Whereas in the current City setup, he's not getting us a starting job over Ivor Panda at all. Unless, of course, as I say, touch wood, this doesn't happen, Panda goes uninjured. But of course, we do have Lotutala. Harvey Cartwright, I do think, could possibly go out on loan somewhere. Of course, this is all depending on his recovery from his injury and how well he's progressing on that. But Harvey Cartwright, he's known to be going out on loan a few times, of course, been to Peterborough and various teams at a similar level. So Harvey Cartwright could possibly go out to a League One side or someone like that who maybe do need a keeper, young keeper who can come in and do a job for them for 6 months. Defenders wise, the only ones that I can see departing in some sort of aspect would be the younger lads. So of course Brandon Fleming just being recalled from his loan at Doncaster Rovers. He is still at the club. A very interesting one, whether he's just waiting on for a club to come and pick him up. I presume that him leaving Hull City would most likely be on a permanent situation. The defensive level of Hull City has developed beyond Brandon Fleming, and when he first broke into the senior squad for City, I had some hopes for him. I thought, I could be the next starting left back for Hull, a local lad from Hornsey, I believe, could do something here. But of course, Matty Jacobs had an absolute breakout in his starting roles, and of course we do know what the current left back situation is at Hull City, with the possible additions of another left back at the club soon. Brandon Fleming's job at Hull City is dwindling away, and certainly a loan out for him, but if not, a permanent deal could be on the cards. Andy Smith, on the other hand, I do think that he will get away from the club, but it will be on a loan out. Of course, he has been known to be out on loan as well. Wasn't out on loan for the first half of the season due to a little bit of an injury problem for himself. He's fully recovered from that, and he's actually been on the bench for a few games now for City. But of course, with the addition of a possible left back coming in, his job at Hull City gets knocked down the ranks a little bit, and a loan out could do him the world of good to see what we do have in Andy Smith, and then evaluate that, of course, for the summer, progressing on into next season. Well, I talked about this yesterday. Abdush Umar. Of course, he's been pretty much on the books to leave Hull City for quite some time. It was on some radars back in the summer, but right now it seems like he is definitely destined to go back to Turkey. Talked about this yesterday, that Besiktas are reportedly wanting him, and they are offering a 3-year contract for the Turkish and in Hull City number 10, where he would be out there on a permanent deal. Another one that has got some substance to it, and that being Xavier Simons. Of course, talked about this one. The AIK in Sweden have been interested in him, and Hull City are open to loaning out Xavier Simons. Is breaking out yesterday, and they're open to loaning him out before the end of the transfer window. So it seems like Xavier Simons might be over to Sweden before long. I'll gloss over not Gustavo Puerta. We do want Gustavo Puerta. We definitely need him. Oscar Zambrano, sorry. I'll gloss over that Oscar Zambrano situation. Is I'm pretty sure we've had you probably had the death of it heard, haven't you? Attacking wise, Chris Bedia. Of course, we know with Chris Bedia that he is pretty much on his way out, if not already on his way out. Of course, I say these announcements could have happened today. Some of these before this video comes out, so take it as it comes, really. But Chris Bedia, he's almost certainly getting his contract terminated with Hull City to head back to his loan club in Union Berlin. So he's almost certainly going to be going back there before the transfer window shuts. I presume the hold-up may be because Union Berlin don't want him, and therefore are looking for another suitable team to take Chris Bedia on. Of course, he's currently City's second top goal scorer with 3 goals, so we'll just bear that in mind. But Chris Bedia, as a Tiger, probably won't happen again. But other than that, I don't think any of the sort of first team players do really deserve to go or get loaned out or anything. Of course, we do currently have Ryan Giles, James Furlong, Selly, which is a bit of a weird one in its own right. We'll gloss over that as well. I'm sure that's going to be a video to come on what is going on with Uriel Selly. Marvin Malem and Callum Jones, they're all out on loan at Middlesbrough, Wimbledon, Paderborn and Morecambe respectively. So possible a few more loan outs joining them. And of course, we do know that the under-21s and under-18s chef people out on loan all the time. to go and gain valuable experience to possibly produce something in the senior team for Hull City, but then as a backup option, gain some money for the first team to evolve. So a very interesting time for Hull City and for some of them fringe players that I've talked about today that could be departing the club in loan or permanent aspects this January. Of course, Monday is when the January transfer window closes, so do expect it to be a busy few days heading towards Monday. And of course, I will be live on Monday with my deadline day talks as always. And then, of course, stay tuned on the channel by liking and subscribing as I keep you on everything Hull City. When you want to know when Louie Barry signs, if you want to know when these players depart, all sort of stuff like that, where I produce videos and all sort of goodness like that. So stay tuned on the channel here. And I will see you in the next video where it could possibly be a Louie Barry signing. If not, he has already done so. Up the Tigers.